Glad you're with us. Little pigskin tossed around here on campus as we bring you inside the booth alongside Scott Whitlock. I'm Daniel Gilman. The bats were out early for the hot-hitting Cardinal offense on Friday, but Scott, since the second inning Friday, Louisville has not scored. What do you like about the approach from the Clemson circle?
Well, I'll tell you, they both have gotten better this weekend as the game progressed. Both Manus on Friday night, and then yesterday Dunning did the same thing. They have been able to make in-game adjustments, and it has really helped, get the Tigers through these first two games.
We're going to see Manus again today, as well as Zabala on the other side, but let's jump back to Friday. A 4-run first inning for Louisville erased on this grand slam by the freshman Sarah Breaux, her first collegiate home run. And then Coach John Rittman went small ball, down one in the fourth against Zabala. Clemson put together 4 straight bunts, capped off by the suicide squeeze RBI by Kylie Chanel. Chanel would add the go-ahead RBI in the 6th as Sarah Breaux closed it out with style to give Manus the complete game win. You move forward one day, and the offense was triggering again for Clemson. 2 early runs, doubled by the Corey Hicks long ball. That's all Abby Dunning needed for her second straight Saturday shutout. 6 strong strikeouts in the circle for the Boston College transfer.
It wasn't as pristine as last Saturday, but it showed something else about Dunning. She competed until she got herself settled down, and then she shut Louisville down.
10 singles, 1 double, all the Clemson staff has mustered as Sierra Manus gets the start yet again, and things were a bit finicky for Manus in that first inning on Friday, and she's hoping to get off to a better start today here against Lotus, Mack, and Despinese again for Louisville.
And finicky is putting it nice. She got knocked around in the first inning on Friday, but she did settle down and pitched a pretty good ball game.
Louisville runs out their same 9 as yesterday.
And this is the same thing we saw Friday night out of Manus, having trouble getting the strike zone early. I know it's only 2 pitches, but 2-0 is not a great place to work from.
Yep, 6 lefty hitters for Holly April, the head coach for Louisville, as Easton Lotus and Chelsea Mack, the 2 slappers at the top of this Cardinals lineup, looking to get Louisville back at 500 in ACC play. Fouling off the 2-1 there. Louisville took the opening weekend of ACC play at home against a top 25 team in Stanford. It's their first ranked series win since 2019. As Lotus looks to set the stage on a 2-2 count here in the top of the first. Line drive into left center. This is a single heavy lineup, isn't it, Scott?
Oh, yeah, and they put the ball in play all over the park. Both of these teams hit to the opposite field very well. But Lotus and Mack at the top of the Louisville lineup, you better believe they're looking to go opposite field because they're partly slapper, but they can also turn on the ball a little bit. But the left side of the infield has got to be wide awake on these kids.
Chelsea Mack, first pitch swinging. An opportunity for a fielder's choice comes, and the FAU transfer at short, Kylie Chanel, has had a Golden Glove this season for Coach John Rittman's defense, with Marion Collins at second, and the 2 freshmen in the corner infield with Breaux and Pavesi.
Yes, and obviously Chanel made a fine play, but you got to give accolades to Collins. That was a situation where you don't want to swing the bat.
First pitch swinging, the power hitter Bree Despinese takes one to the warning track. Run down by Kylie Johnson for out number 2. And let's talk more about Manus, the transfer from USC upstate, who has certainly been a benefactor of good defense. After allowing 6 runs, 3 of them earned in the first 2 innings Friday, Manus and Dunning have been nearly perfect since.
Yeah, and in fairness to Manus,
we're going to see Chelsea Mack swipe her ACC leading 21st stolen base. And I'll tell you what, Coach, Louisville's not wasting any time. First pitch swinging, first pitch stealing. What does that tell you?
They're being aggressive. They know that Manus wants to get ahead in the count. That means they know the ball is going to possibly be, should be around the plate with the first pitch.
So Taylor Monroe back healthy in the lineup, now in that 4 spot. Had to take a late swing, which is what we've seen all weekend from the conference's best stolen base team.
I think that swing may have been partly to protect the runner.
Exactly, timed up perfectly as the ground ball picked up by Pavesi leads to a clean first inning for Manis. The double shades.
Ma, let's take in the ball game, David. Give my shades out, 'cause I want to look good.
Bottom of the first inning here. We're hoping the sun might peek through as the Miami-born senior Alyssa Zabala has come out of the bullpen both Friday and Saturday. We mentioned that Friday comeback from Clemson, able to pick up the bunts against Zabala. She has been unbelievable out of the pen, though, and we get to see her start now.
Yes, and I think she's clearly their best pitcher and is clearly a up-level pitcher. She is a very, I would love to have her on my roster.
3 shutout innings yesterday in relief. It was too late as Clemson got the damage early. And Jamison Brockenbrough, who has had bunt singles both Friday and Saturday, looked to put it down and takes ball 1.
Yes, and she's got a great eye. She can do everything with the bat. And I was just pointed out that I no longer have a roster, so I guess that the young pitcher from Louisville is on their own.
She creates soft contact, and Taylor Monroe, we talked about her at the plate. Monroe playing short for the second time here in the last 2 weeks, had suffered an injury and is happy to be healthy.
Oh, yes. She has worked her way back in. She is their best shortstop. They've got a very good middle infield between Lotus and Monroe.
Brings up Kylie Chanel, who has popped into the 2 spot over the last 2.5 weeks. Part of this Clemson offense that is so balanced, Scott, because we've talked about the power threats in the middle of the lineup. Chanel has certainly been a catalyst for Coach John Rittman and his team as she'll foul off the 1-0.
And Chanel has been just a huge addition to this Clemson program because she has really settled down the shortstop position. And that trickled down. That allowed Collins to settle down over at second base. And then what really brought everything together is when they decided to go with Sarah Breaux at third base, because you already had the reliable Mac Pavesi at first base.
Clemson, after a trip to the Super Regionals last season, a couple outs away from their first OKC experience, hoping that 2026 might bring that barrier of removal as the pop out in the infield brings up Mac Pavesi here with 2 outs.
Well, this week is either the second or third week of conference play based upon your part of the schedule, and everybody's got high hopes still about getting into the tournament and maybe progressing forward, but there is a lot of work that has to be done before Louisville or Clemson can start thinking tournament, because they're both works in progress.
No doubt about it, but before you know it, we're going to be in May as the Clemson Tigers home a ton in March, away for almost the entire month of April. And Coach John Rittman has put together a friendly start to the season kind of schedule here in ACC play, but a very rigorous non-conference season for Clemson has their RPI in the top 20 as Pavesi lines one to short in a quick inning. Nothing left the infield against Zabala. We're scoreless into the second. Followed us this weekend. Scott and I have certainly sung our praises for this former Pitt head coach and UMass alum.
She is a fantastic coach. She was a great player and has been able to take what she could do as a player and been able to put it into her philosophy, coaching no matter where she's at. She's worked her way up the ladder, and she is doing a fantastic job at Louisville.
Cardinals, with a unique schedule, will not play another conference game for 2 weeks when they host Georgia Tech. As a trip to Columbus, Ohio next weekend for the Cardinals, midweek at Western Kentucky, as Cameron Luckadoo looks to shake this slump to start the series, seeking her first hit of the weekend. and might have it here on a bloop to left, and a leadoff single starts the second. Same way we saw the first for Lotus.
That ball was hit sharp. And I would like to announce that I've just told through the headphones from Easton that I have been given an extension.
Congratulations, you're working next week?
No, through the third inning of this game. I'm inning to inning.
Fantastic stuff. Scott Whitlock, the former head coach at Kennesaw State, up here with you. I'm Daniel Gilman. We're produced by Easton Smith, directed by Jason Semf on this Sunday afternoon as the sun is peeking through. Madison Pickens ahead in the count 1-0. And there is no doubt, we saw Friday a little bit more of a conservative approach against Manus as the game went on, and Sierra got stronger. She retired the final 12 batters she faced.
And if she can survive this early bout of aggression from Louisville, and Louisville is definitely up there. If it's a strike, they're swinging today. And not to say they were not aggressive in the first two games, but this is especially aggressive.
Pickens now will put down a bunt, and this speedy team takes advantage. Pavesi falls. Her throw carries Collins off the bag, and everyone moves up 60 feet. This is the Louisville team that was able to beat Stanford.
And this is the defense they saw in game one against Clemson in the first inning. There was nothing you could do with that. Pavesi should have put that ball in her pocket and been done.
We'll see how it's ruled. Should be a bunt single and an E3. And now an opportunity to score runs early. Jordan Williams, who started the scoring on Friday with a 2-run single, stands in a similar spot and takes strike one.
These teams were so similar, and every game this weekend has been fun to watch. You know what I mean? I mean, just fun to sit down and watch the game.
I agree, Coach, and I feel like when you get into ACC play, this is all you can ask for. Two competitive teams, both on the fringe of the top 25 ESPN USA softball rankings. Clemson has narrowly snagged 2 out of the first 2, and Manus picks up a big strikeout, staying on the outer half against Williams.
That was huge. That was a huge strikeout. Now she has a chance, mind you, just a chance to maybe wiggle out of this.
Next man up is Katie Thatcher, the DP in the 8th spot. She takes a curveball low and in. Thatcher, who started yesterday, 0 for 3.
You've got to think that Coach April has on contact, a play called on contact. The runner's going to be breaking from third for anything on the ground.
No doubt, that's Luckadoo. As the Clemson infield is pinched, but they're not all the way in like you might see against a slap hitter, respecting the power of Thatcher.
But, I mean, the count's 2-0, and a 216 hitter becomes like a 250 hitter.
And how about a bunt? A little safety squeeze, taking a page out of Rittman's book.
Yeah, I don't know. That was not suicide squeeze, but it was a squeeze. I mean, when you say a safety squeeze, what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is that the third base runner does not just take off on the pitch. They linger around and see what's going to happen.
1 out, top 2. Big swing on 2-1, and Manus eyes another strikeout as Sierra Manus in the circle is second in the ACC with a 1.77 ERA. First team All Big South with USC Upstate last season. And another strikeout. Manus has found her rhythm here in March.
That is impressive. First 2 runners reach, throw in an error. They've had runners in scoring position with nobody out. And now there's 2 away, and the runners are still where they are. And if she can go 1 more mile, it'll be huge.
Riley Janda, sophomore third baseman in the 9 spot, had a hit on Friday, 0 for 2 yesterday.
And this is who you want to get because Lotus is on deck, and that presents problems.
Good eye by Janda, ahead in the count 2-0, and it feels like Manus has had to work her way back on a couple of these strikeouts, falling behind in the count 2-0 to Thatcher, 1-0 to Williams. Now Louisville stranded the bases loaded down 2 in the 3rd inning yesterday. Had a big strikeout and a pop out created by Dunning. Feel like this would certainly feel like a monumental swing if the Cardinals can't connect. 2-2 on a screwball, catches the inner half.
Nice pitch. Both of these teams have had a problem with leaving runners in scoring position. Now, I've called a lot of games here at Clemson, obviously, and that is a big factor for them.
2-2. Similar pitch on the inner half, but a good take.
I think that was a strike regardless of the swing, but my vote does not matter one bit.
Full count. Top of the lineup due next in Easton Lotus. Clemson fans making some noise on 3-2. And a strike that maybe lost the zone with the location has given Janda a 2-out walk. Do you think maybe there was a cross up there? It felt like Hicks behind home plate had to reach across.
Well, the ball did move.
That's exactly what it was.
But it moved across the plate, in my opinion.
So it brings up Lotus, and every slap hitter knows when the bases are loaded, the defense is a little bit more comfortable against that contact approach as Corey Hicks works her way to the circle.
And this is a great thing to do right now because Manis is mad about that no call. She's got to flush it. Forget about it. The only pitch that matters is the next pitch. You still can get out of this with no runs scored. But you've got to throw strikes early in the count.
And I will say, in Aaron Golden's defense, if you're set up low and in, and the pitch is high and down the middle, tougher to grab that strike call. So
well,
Janda walked. Go ahead.
Theirs is a job I don't want. Calling balls and strikes.
Count is 1-1. Louisville has 3 hits. 2 of them in this inning. And now Manis working her way through a 2-1 count as you see the bases filled. Luckadoo, Pickens, and Janda.
Be careful here.
Lotus slaps it into the glove. A reaction to save runs. And Manis leaves them loaded.
You saw the benefit of a pitcher that can field her position right there. She didn't have time to think or do anything. That was strictly athletic ability and reaction time. And they leave runners on every bag.
Taken away from Lotus. Even the cameraman was ready to show center field as Sierra Manis with incredible instincts. Look at that.
A backhand, no less.
And Louisville strands them loaded with 1 out again. We saw it last game. And now an opportunity to turn that into momentum on the bottom half as Sierra Manis has registered 7 straight shutout innings against Louisville dating back to Friday. As Marion Collins takes outside, it's Zabala's turn to duel in aces on this Sunday.
And so far, I mean, we're only in it with the, I guess this is the 4th hitter, that Zavala seems to be right on point.
Taylor Monroe at short has all 3 putouts for Louisville. 2 pop-outs and a line drive out in the 1st inning.
Well, we know where not to hit it if you're Clemson.
Cardinals have displayed 3 high-level uniform combos this weekend. Just tipping my cap. All black on Friday, the white pinstripes Saturday, and the all reds here against Clemson's white ghost look this afternoon.
Yep, I thought the white uniform Louisville wore yesterday was great. And I love Clemson's uniforms. The only thing I don't like about the whites is they do the white on white numbers, and it's hard to read from up here.
There's a look at the orange trims for Marion Collins, who is 4 for 7 with an RBI and 2 runs this weekend. Foul back the 3-1 pitch. A chance for a leadoff base runner here against Zabala. Collins all-region a season ago. Now in her sophomore season has moved from shortstop to second base A batting average just shy of 400. Ground ball to second. Lotus underhand flips to Luckadoo for out number 1.
And Nola just rolled over that one. Excuse me, Collins. Forgive me, Collins. Nola walking into the batter's box right now.
We saw a terrific grab made by Lotus on a leaping, lunging play, colliding with the freshman Odell back on Friday.
That was a little concerning.
It was. Let the fans introduce the next hitter as Julian Noller takes outside, the junior DP. An all-Florida matchup here. See another one with Bro coming up in a few batters. Kylie Johnson as well. This comes in and catches the bat of Noller, count 1-1.
That's a tough luck strike right there. He did a great job of not swinging at that pitch, and then it runs up on her and nicks the bat. Now, if you can hit the bat on purpose, that's great pitching.
Noller, who had a few RBIs in the midweek win over Winthrop. Another RBI to open the weekend as Clemson chased the Louisville starter on Friday in the first inning before Zabala came in and started mowing down Tigers. Two very similar outings out of the pen for Zabala, so we'll see how this start.
And it would also be interesting as to who they come with if Zabala runs out of gas.
Late swing, evens the count 2-2.
And I don't believe Zabala will run out of gas. But if she did, I wonder who they would go to out of their pen.
Well, Louisville has a balanced approach with 5 different pitchers making 9 or more appearances so far this season. We have only seen 3 of them. Fouled off by Noller. We saw Jaden Goes make the start yesterday, Anna Wise on Friday.
And we saw Goes pitch on Friday as well.
We did, yeah, very end of that outing. Then Brooke Gray and Maddie Reeves are 2 options as well out of the pen today. But Louisville is hoping that Zabala can carry them into the next week, even at 3-3 in ACC play, as Noller starting to battle here.
Now, we had a nice play made by a fan. It was on a ricochet off the top, and he did the cool thing. He gave it to that young lady behind him. That's good job right there. And she just went back and said thank you to him.
That one's headed for Scott's car, but does not have the gas. Here's a look at that play.
Look at here.
Woo.
Nice catch. Now stay with him. Stay with him. Stay with him. Gives it to the youngster.
One out, bottom 2. Clemson seeks their first base runner. This is turning into a battle between Noller and Zabala. Now, Zabala faced Clemson 2 years ago, nearly had a complete game win, but Noller led a 3-run 7th inning to give the Tigers the lead and the win. So a little bit of familiarity here between these 2 upperclassmen as Noller sends this one foul and out of play again.
She has ruined, I think, 5 pitches in a row. Or maybe it's only 4. But this has been a good battle right here. Top shelf pitcher versus a top shelf hitter.
Hard hit off of the glove of Lotus. And Louisville gives one back. It's a 1-out base runner for Clemson on the error.
Now, I would definitely score that as an error. But I do want to say this for Noller. She hit it hard. It was hit very sharply. And it got an in-between hop for the second baseman, Lotus. And now the Tigers have a runner on first with only 1 out, and Hicks up.
6 home runs to lead the team. Corey Hicks, the Oklahoma transfer, takes a big cut. She is 1 long ball away from 10 in her young career. Only had 6 hits last season, but 3 of them were home runs for the Sooners.
Well, if you're going to get a hit.
Zabala not wasting time, zones it by at 68. It's 0-2.
Hicks swung right under that one. As a hitter, you got to know when you got somebody like Zabala's out there, you don't have to overswing because Zabala is going to, she's going to supply you with the energy of the ball. She's going to help you with the power.
1-2 is popped up. Luckadoo fighting a little wind makes the grab for out number 2.
Yeah. Lotus said, now look, I've already gotten run over one time in this series. You've called it, you get it. I'm getting out of the way.
Cameron Luckadoo started her career at Kentucky. Made the move after her freshman season. Brings up the power threat in the freshman Sarah Bro. Pops this one foul and out of play as Bro entered the weekend without a collegiate home run.
She had an important one Friday.
Changed it in the first inning with a grand slam, becoming just the second Tiger to hit a grand slam in their first home run. Joining Abby Vera.
I just wish you would have enjoyed it more.
Takes outside 1-1. If you missed the highlight, I would go check out Instagram or Twitter for Clemson softball to watch the celebration for Bro.
She knew it was gone.
And what a swing that was, Scott, from down 4-1 to up 5-4 in the opener of the series in the first inning. 2-1 here from Zabala. Sub-3 ERA for the Louisville ace. Here's another look at a little bit of a check swing. Despinese wanted to give it a glance over to Robbie Guest at first base. Change up, drifted foul, and it's 2-2.
I tend to do that sometimes too, drift foul. That's why I got you just keep pulling me back in.
There you go. Get some new brakes on that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, how's your car?
I learned about pads and rotors this week, Scott. 2-2. Deep fly ball inside the park to center. And Max secures for out number 3. Clemson gets a base runner. We send it to the 3rd.
You got under just a little bit, partner.
And a partially full McWhorter Stadium here on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, we started a little early today, and people with church and whatnot.
Yeah, it's tough.
They could be coming in late, or they may opt just to stay home and listen to us. And we hope you are listening, and if you are listening, we hope you're enjoying it.
And, you know, we certainly appreciate when you stop Scott at the grocery store and thank him for his good work. And we thank you guys all for tuning in each week as Clemson softball takes a bit of a breather. Midweek at Western Carolina, then a trip to Notre Dame and Columbia. But the end of the month should be a fun one against Florida State as the 2 top teams in the ACC tangle.
Well, if you look closely at Clemson's schedule, their conference slate gets very tough down the stretch.
And nearly an entire month of April on the road as Chelsea Mack looks to bunt and take strike 1.
And the reason I mention that, that's why it is so important to gobble up series in the early going. And so far, Clemson has been able to win 2 series, and today they want to go for greed, get that sweep.
Yep, something that the Tigers could not do last Sunday as Georgia Tech scored late on a 2-run home run, held on for a 1-run win, and Georgia Tech even the series yesterday against the top 25 Virginia team.
I was going to mention that. They're no joke.
Yeah,
that's a good ball club.
Duke took the first 2 games against Virginia Tech. They sit undefeated atop the ACC as Mack has worked the count in her favor at 3-1. Chelsea Mack, who also started her career at Kentucky, Transferred after a freshman season and is scorching to start her senior campaign, hitting .470. Tops in the conference with 21 stolen bases.
And she does not strike out. I mean, she's had only 3 strikeouts on the season.
Oh, another quick play, but Manis cannot find the ball, and Mack has a leadoff single.
Yeah, she made a pad save,
exactly,
but didn't get it in the glove.
Protected the 5-hole.
Yeah.
Even if Manis picks that up off the bounce, it's going to be a close play with the speed of Mack.
Actually, if she'd have fielded it, she'd have had her easily, but
right.
I mean, you can't fault Manis at all. I mean, you didn't know where the ball was.
Even getting a glove on it. An impressive fielding pitcher. Sets things up for the power threat in Bree Despinese. All conference 2 seasons ago in the MAC with Kent State.
If Despinese does not hit the ball here, we are going to see a stolen base attempt within the next 3 pitches.
I like that prediction. Despinese flew out on a first pitch swing in the first inning. And then Max stole second. There she goes, pitches a strike, and the throw just carries Chanel off the bag. So there is stolen base number 22.
That might have been one of the easiest predictions to make.
Good job.
And John Rittman thinks that they've caught her going early. This will be interesting.
So we may have a coach's challenge here in the 3rd inning, and a pivotal one, as Aaron Golden will head to the secret room that certainly does not have a name on it that says replay room, right? We found that out on Friday. I love making you laugh, partner. Glad we could have a good time.
That's a don't mistake my laughing for me enjoying it, all right?
Oh, she did leave early.
Yes, she did.
How about that? Here's a look at the ball in the hand of Manis. Right here, the foot is off the bag.
This should be an easy and a quick, and there's going to be an out in the inning.
You can take away 22nd stolen base for Chelsea Mack if this is overturned. And if it is, I believe that John Rittman will move to 4-1 on challenges this weekend. And whoever had an eye in that dugout, I don't know if we can give credit. And so with that overturn, Mack is out, and the pitch will not count. So they will move the count back to 1-1.
And you bring up a great point. There is I do not know who it is, but there is somebody in that dugout that their job is to watch that. And I think it very well could be.
I see one of the players are getting a lot of high fives. I can't quite see who it is down there, Scott.
She's sitting there on a little table at the end.
Now, there was someone standing in the middle that went around and got everybody's congratulations. So we'll keep an eye, see if we can get a reporter down there to find out who is in charge. I'm going to try to keep my eye. I've got her hair, but I can't quite see anything else. Regardless, a successful challenge and a strikeout now for Manis. And you turn around, a runner at second with 1 out. Now the bases are empty with 2.
And that really kills momentum. You get the leadoff hitter on. She thinks that she's stolen second base. Instead, now there's 2 down and nobody on.
Brings up the cleanup hitter, Taylor Monroe, who takes a strike at the letters. Monroe hit a cue shot to first base to end the 1st inning. This is laced into shallow left, read beautifully by Kylie Johnson. She turned a year older on Tuesday and turns the lineup over here on Sunday. What a grab.
That was pretty snazzy right there. I'm not surprised, because we've seen great play out of the Clemson outfield all year. But look at that, folks. I bet you at home couldn't do that. Well, maybe some of you could. Nobody my age could.
A walk-off win on Friday. Took the series yesterday over the hot-hitting Hokies How about Georgia Tech? We touched on it, but an extra inning win. Looking for a rubber game here in Charlottesville as Stanford suffers a third loss here early in the season.
But Georgia Tech is going to give everybody fits that they play this year. They're not the most talented team in the league, but they've got a lot of talent on that team. But they play so hard.
We'll keep tabs on scores today. Florida State on their way to a sweep over Syracuse, up 6-0.
And look who's up at bat. The hero, the defensive hero, leads off the inning.
Isn't that wild how that works out? Kylie Johnson at the plate after making the web gem in the top half. Johnson with 3 hits in the 2 games against Louisville, as Zabala has created soft contact throughout this entire lineup. Another pop out here from Johnson.
Nobody's getting on top of her rise ball. If you notice how many high fly balls we've had.
Yeah, that is the 4th pop out. Clean through the lineup, aside from the error that had Nola reach. And so the 9-hitter Taylor Pipkins comes up with the bases empty.
And you got to be scratching your head a little bit in the Louisville dugout about how many opportunities are we going to have to score and not take advantage of it.
Pipkins as a freshman with that big grand slam in the tournament last season, won MVP as Clemson defeated Florida State with that 2-run 7th inning shot by Kylie Johnson. And so those 2 teams will rematch Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the end of the month. Saturday and Sunday on ACC Network.
I only get to work 1 game that series.
You get to be a fan for the other 2. And now Pipkins ahead in the count 3-0. This is the first 3-ball count from Zabala. Tigers eyeing their first hit. Zabala able to find the strike zone with the leadoff hitter Jamison Brockenbrough on deck.
Pipkins was taken all the way on that pitch, by the way.
Taylor skies one out to right, where Williams is there for out number 2.
They just are having trouble right now getting on top of that ball. They're hitting right under it. They're hitting the lower half of the ball and hitting it straight up in the air. Now we start the second time through.
I'll tell you one thing, Scott. Zabala has not been human any of the times through.
Oh, no.
The only time that Clemson has gotten to her in 3 outings this weekend is when they bunted 4 straight times. It was a bunt single, followed by a sacrifice, then another bunt single, and then the suicide squeeze. Brockenbrough was in the middle of that.
And as we documented yesterday, John Rittman bunting 4 times in a row is one of the signs of the apocalypse. It just don't happen.
Tennessee transfer takes outside, but enough for the zone, 1-1. There is Coach Rittman in his regalia purple today.
Going with the Barney look.
I think it's a good look. It's a clean color for Clemson. A lot of nice colors in this matchup with Louisville and their Cardinals red. John Rittman, who won his 1,000th game as a head coach 2 weeks ago against Mississippi State. Mississippi State took down Tennessee yesterday in a walk-off win to end the Volunteers' run in an unbeaten season. And here is a run to end the no-hit campaign as Brockenbrough gets on with 2 outs in the 3rd.
Yep, she went with the pitch and drove it out there in the short gap. What I mean by that is it was close enough for the center fielder to get over there to it and keep her at first base. But this is the second time through. And let's see how Zabala responds to after giving up a hit. She's a veteran. I don't think it'll matter much to her.
Brings up Kylie Chanel, who takes just outside with some sunshine starting to break its way through the clouds.
There's 2 outs in the inning, so Don't be surprised if Brockenbrough doesn't take off.
Clemson has swiped 2 bags this weekend against Espinese. Screwball evens the count. Here's another all-Florida matchup. Clemson has 4 starters from the Sunshine State.
The state of Florida and the state of Georgia are prime recruiting areas. Prime. A lot of good players in those 2 states.
There goes the runner, a late jump, but a terrific slide beats the throw as Brockenbrough able to pick up her 5th steal of the season.
I predicted that.
You did predict that. You're 2 for 2.
You hear me?
Predicting stolen bases.
Just keep your seat here under the learning tree. Well, I'll make an announcer out of you yet.
Throw just tardy. Now a run-scoring opportunity. Chanel had the game-winning hit on Friday and starts the scoring here today with an RBI double.
Isn't that uncanny? I mean, Zavala has been in total control. And then with 2 outs, a single and a double, and just like that, the Tigers are up 1-0.
The only Tiger to figure out Alyssa Zavala has been Kylie Chanel.
And both hits in this inning have been opposite field.
Brings up Mac Pavesi, who has lived off of those backside swings here in her freshman season as the Georgia native takes low. The Tigers have struck through here against this ace who wants to discuss with her infield.
She wants to catch her breath. She's trying to clear her head, slow things down, encourage her infielders. There's a lot of stuff being discussed out there.
Meanwhile, Coach Rittman is also discussing a pinch runner for Chanel as Sarah Rocheleau will run at second.
As a freshman.
Rocheleau, who ran, I believe, for Chanel in that 2-run 6th inning on Friday. So Coach Rittman tried to run it back as Irish jig music plays a few days ahead of St. Patrick's Day. How about a mid-at-bat substitution there with the pinch runner?
Well, he was pondering it down there. Deep thoughts.
Yeah, trying to steal a run here with 2 outs.
Very deep thoughts. Look at him.
Coach John Rittman, who coached for 18 years at Stanford, won over 700 games with the Cardinal, has created this Clemson program, taken them to sites with a regular season title in 2021, a tournament title last season, and regionals every year. 3-0 pitch misses to Pavesi, and the Tigers have rattled Zavala. Well, 2-out rally.
I honestly think they were pitching around. They were pitching around Pavesi with the base open, but the pitching coach now is going to run out and tell him, "You got to get this one right here."
Yep, a visit from the 8th-year assistant in Griffin Joyner, who traveled with Coach April from Pitt to Louisville. And the Cardinals, with a 450-mile journey back home, are certainly hoping for an 11th comeback win.
How did it go from 700 to 400?
Well, I had 7 hours written down. That's the bus ride from Louisville.
Yeah.
And then I looked at that and I said 700. That's how.
You do it right off the top of your head? I mean, with the math? Or do you have it all written down?
I try to prepare myself. I have 450 miles, the journey. We never know who's flying and who's busing nowadays, though.
You're right.
Could be a 1-hour flight. Regardless, we sit in the bottom of the 3rd. Marion Collins takes outside.
That is one of the things that's changed with the times, is about travel now. I come from the day when the coach used to have to drive one of the vans. And
Yeah, you had to do the research of how far the trajectory trip would be.
Trajectory of the trip, yes. And
a hitter's count here for Marion Collins, who is swinging the hottest bat on the team this weekend. Can add some insurance.
Yeah, she has been red hot this weekend.
2-0, beaten into the dirt and handled by Lotus. Clemson scrapes through with their first hits and run, taking us to the fourth off the Chanel RBI. Louisville today has continued their woes with runners in scoring position, Scott.
Yes, they have, and they have not been able to figure it out with runners on second or third. You can see right there, it speaks for itself. No runs. They have gotten 4 hits, struck out 3 times, but with runners in scoring position, they are 0-4-4.
And Scott, they've got the binoculars out trying to find a run. Where can the run come about, as the Clemson pitching has been shut down since the second inning Friday? Louisville has not scored since, as Sierra Manis will take down the middle of this lineup here. Cameron Luckadoo leads things off after her single back in the second inning. She'll take low.
And this is Cameron is on my all-name team. I like that name, Luckadoo.
1-0 pitch misses inside as the junior 1 for 7 on the series. Meanwhile, the Cardinals have had leadoff singles in all 3 innings, and Sierra Manis has tight-roped around them with some terrific defense.
Timely strikeouts, too.
And big strikeouts, you're right. Chopper to third, where the freshman at the hot corner is there for out number 1.
We've talked about Bro off and on these last 2 weeks about, yeah, she is noted as a power hitter, but she has got great hands, soft hands at third base.
Freshman from Miami. Mecca of baseball the next few days down there, the World Baseball Classic, as Bro gets tested again. And there's 2 quick outs. Meanwhile, just across the way, Clemson baseball brought the bats yesterday to salvage the series against top 5 Georgia Tech.
Yes, they did. Both of those teams will play in the postseason.
I do believe so.
Yeah, I really went out on a limb with that one, didn't I?
Yeah, it's a good prediction. Meanwhile, what do you think is going to happen here? A strike or a ball? One of the two?
Yeah, it will be one or the other.
Jordan Williams takes a strike at the knees, and Sierra Manis has not messed around here in the last 2 innings.
And again, she's at a part of the batting order that she can attack.
Well, I will say the one thing that Louisville lacks is a real home run threat. They have 14 home runs on the season.
Now, this is a veteran move by Coach April. This is about nothing but slowing down Manis. If you're not going to give a hitting clinic in an 0-2 count, what she's going to do right now is say something encouraging, but that meeting was to slow Manis down. She was in a groove.
Manis, who has 35 strikes thrown, 10 of her last 11 pitches have been in the zone. 0-2 here for a clean 4th inning. 6 up, 6 down the last 2 frames. 16 straight scoreless for the Clemson Arms here this weekend. We are off to the bottom of the 4th. Next. 3rd inning for Clemson. Picked up their first hit of the game. An aggressive base running by Jamison Brockenbrough put her in position for this RBI double by Chanel.
And as I said earlier, both batters reached going opposite field. And look at that number right there. The first time through the batting order, 0 for 9. And right now they're 2 for 3, the second time through.
Have to believe that Coach Rittman, a hitter's coach, hoping Clemson can find a groove the second time through as Julia Noller leads things off. Drives the first pitch from Alyssa Zabala foul. We'll see Noller, Hicks, and Bro.
That sounds like a law firm.
Sounds like a law firm. They are certainly a power trio.
Hicks and Bro.
Between Hicks and Bro, both home runs hit in this weekend set. Late swing there.
Yes.
0-2. Zabala has one job, and that is to keep things tight and hope that this dormant Cardinals offense can break through. 1-2 the count. Louisville with 14 singles this weekend and 1 double.
Isn't that something? I mean, Friday they just singled Clemson to death.
First 2 innings, they had 4 2-out RBI hits and have been seeking a run since. Meanwhile, the Tigers have found a little bit of a groove later in games.
Yeah, the double occurred yesterday.
Correct, yeah.
And so every hit that Louisville had on Friday were singles all over the place.
Two is lofted into shallow left. Monroe gave way, and no one was there. Pickens picks it up on a bounce.
She got called off. In fairness to the shortstop, she got called off. And she did exactly what she's supposed to do, go low.
Oh, and Coach, she was tracking it well. I believe Monroe probably could have had a beat on it. And so now Kennedy Ariel will run over at first base.
But, that, sometimes you go, why did the shortstop not make that play? Because they're trained to listen, and if they're called off, get out of the way. A fly ball is always prioritized by the outfielder to catch it. And a lot of times the outfielder knows when an infielder's camped under it just to let him make the play. But she was called off in that situation.
Brings up Corey Hicks, who had the 2-run home run, adding insurance in a similar scenario yesterday. It came in the bottom of the 3rd inning for Clemson. Propelled the lead from 2-0 to 4-0. Now look at this. The power hitter looks to bunt and takes ball 1.
I think that was just for demonstration only. I don't think she's up there to bunt, but she may be.
Keep Janda on her toes over at third base. Finds the inner half.
Now, at some point in time, don't be surprised if you don't see Ariel take off. It may not be this at bat, it may be the next at bat, but she's going. If they don't move her with the bat, she's going to try to move them with the legs.
4-pitch strikeout on Hicks as the first out of the inning for Zabala. That'll bring up Bro. As Zabala with her first strikeout of this contest. She had 9 through the last 2 outings here this weekend and 8 in the midweek appearance against Evansville. But Clemson has figured her out.
Yeah, well, in 3-game series, by Sunday, you've seen her.
Sarah Bro jumps on the first pitch and hits a foul home run.
We didn't have much. Well, we had an effort, but it was very unsuccessful out there to catch it. Oh, look at that. That lady giving that ball to that youngster. How cool is that? How cool is that? I love to see youngsters at the ballpark.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it, Scott? Meanwhile, a breeze has just ushered in, blowing in here, knocking all of Scott's papers off the desk, trying to...
Yeah, I had a situation over here for a while.
You did well. You were talking through an acrobatic act as you see the wind starting to bristle the flags for the first time today. And a 1-1 count for Bro as she'll swing over the rise ball. Bro, who hit the first Clemson Grand Slam since Pipkins in the tournament last season. Back in the first inning Friday.
Watch for Ariel right here.
One, two. Back-to-back strikeouts here for Zabala.
you've got to tip your hat to her. I mean, she is reared back after that base hit and played good old country hardball. She's thrown the ball by the batters.
Carving her way through the power hitters in the lineup, and it brings up Kylie Johnson, who has shown some power.
Made a terrific catch earlier in the game.
Diving grab to end the third inning.
Now, the pinch runner, Ariel, is a lot less likely to go, but I'm not going to rule it out completely now with 2 outs.
Changeup is taken. That's a pitch that Zabala added this offseason.
Yeah, I think it's great that she shows it. And it was not, obviously, clearly not a strike, but the different speeds plant seeds in the head of the hitter.
Foul tip in the glove on 2-0. I like that. You may want to print that out. Seeds, speeds, plant seeds.
In the mind of the hitters.
Yeah. Poetic. 1 run in the third inning. Holding up so far for Sierra Manis and her Tigers. Count now 2-2 to Johnson with Taylor Pipkins due up on deck. Ariel at first, and a full count now will send her with the pitch.
Yeah, I predict she will be running now.
Yes. I would say that was a predictable comment. Zabala prepared to deliver her 77th pitch. Right into the glove of Monroe. And the line drive ends the 4th. We head to the 5th under some dark skies here in Clemson. After shutting down Louisville over the last 5 innings Friday, we have seen 4 shutout here today. What has she done so well?
Survived. This has been an exhibition in survival. She has not been perfect. She has not been, she's been sharp enough. But what she has done is she has made some big pitches in key moments. The bases loaded with nobody out thing is something that really sticks out in my head. And then her fielding her position is something that I'll remember about these first 4 innings. But now we're at the top of the 5th, and we got to get right back on it. As you see right there, only 4 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, no runs.
And in 11 innings this weekend, Manis has only walked 3. But we will see this 3rd time through the lineup in a bit. Thatcher, Janda, and then Lotus. As Katie Thatcher takes strike 1. 0 for 1 with a strikeout, 0 for 4 on the series for the DP.
You know, back in the not so distant future, a 4-3 game was a high-scoring affair, a very high-scoring affair. Now, as you look at the scores from around the country, particularly in conference play when everybody's familiar with everybody, I'm seeing more and more like 8-run games, 9-run games, like 9-7.
Yep. Meanwhile, we have a pinch hitter here, so it is not Katie Thatcher. Instead of 24, it's 44, and the starting pitcher from Friday, Anna Wise, her 5th plate appearance of the season. 0 for 2 with a few walks as Wise fouls it off, count 2-2.
Coach April looking for any answer to get this offense a little bit more.
Wise goes down on strikes. Manis picks up her 5th punch out.
Look at this pitch right here if we've got it. Look at here. And it just goes down.
Kind of a sword action from Wise there.
It goes down.
Meanwhile, it does feel like a matter of time. Louisville has had this magical season of comebacks. A 4-run 7th to beat Stanford in the rubber game. 3-run 6th midweek against Evansville. A few late comeback wins over Illinois last weekend, but Cardinals have not been able to find that magic here on the road in Clemson. As Riley Janda watches one low, count 1-1.
Well, now, in fairness, on Friday's game, they scored enough runs. The pitching betrayed them just a little bit.
Yep, a 6-4 lead, 6-5 lead, I should say, after a 4-0 lead in the first. But the story has certainly been a couple bases loaded, 1-out chances. Today it was 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. Strikeouts from Williams and Thatcher helped Manis escape, and then her own glove saved a 2-out hit from Lotus as Janda takes inside 3-1.
You want to stay away from this if you possibly can. As you see Lotus down there on deck.
Full count.
You want to get the 9-hole hitter out when you're playing Louisville, because the first 2 batters just pose so many different types of problems for you.
And ahead of a full count pitch, Corey Hicks will come out and talk things through. Manis, who has regional experience these last 2 years with the Spartans about an hour north at USC Upstate.
And oddly enough, they've been in the same regional as Clemson both times. Once here, once in Tuscaloosa.
Janda skies one to center, a rare fly ball against Manis, who is a ground ball pitcher. And as you mentioned, a clean start to this inning sets up the top of the lineup with nobody on, as Brockenbrough has been so smooth fielding in center.
Yep, and if you're going to face the top of this order, you like to do it with runners not on base.
First pitch to Lotus misses outside. Easton singled on a line drive to left center in the first inning, robbed of an RBI single up the middle in the second on a great play made by Manis.
There's a European automobile, I do not know which country, that is manufactured called a Lotus. That's a brand. And way back, they had a huge presence in Formula One racing. Lotus did. Not the girl hitting, but lady hitting, but the car company.
Well, if you want to get even crazier, her first name is an apparel brand in softball. The Easton Bats gloves.
Yes, and we have a producer named Easton.
We do. Meanwhile, the count is 2-1. Squibber over to second. And a 1-2-3 frame. 9 consecutive outs recorded by Manis takes us to the bottom of the 5th. As the highlights have been presented to you, 1 RBI came from Kylie Chanel, and a pitcher's duel as expected here, Scott.
Yes, and it lived up to the hype. Both pitchers have been very, very good. And don't let anyone tell you any different.
Alyssa Zabala looks to face this lineup a third time through. It's the 9-hitter Taylor Pipkins, then Brockenbrough and Chanel in the bottom of the 5th inning. And as Clemson, they are all too familiar with losing late leads and know how important these insurance runs are. Gonna scrap one through. Here up by 1 as Pipkins fouls off the first pitch.
And as we've talked about all weekend long, is nothing is going to faze Louisville. They come from behind with the greatest of ease, it seems. They're perfectly comfortable being 1 run off the lead.
Oh, Pipkins gets hit with the 0-1 pitch, and it's a leadoff base runner for just the 2nd time for Clemson.
So that right there is the difference between a youthful athlete and an old man like me, because if I get hit there, right there on my elbow, I am still laying down on the ground right in front of the home plate area there. And I may even be sobbing.
First pitch to Jamison Brockenbrough, misses high and outside.
Brockenbrough's a mainstay out there in center field.
Snapped the no-hitter with 2 outs in the 3rd. Came around to score on the double by Chanel.
She will be dearly missed next season.
And squirts this one up the middle. Back-to-back base runners to start the 5th inning for Clemson. And you are right. This is the year that Clemson and Jamison Brockenbrough have circled.
Yes. And as you saw right there, the ball was hit so sharply, and if you noticed how the center fielder Mack was hustling and kept Pipkin at second base.
And a meeting of the minds for the Louisville infield, expecting a bunt from the bunt specialist Kylie Chanel here.
I would almost wager half of your salary that they're going to bunt.
That's so risky of you.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to risk my money.
It is March.
Okay.
March Madness in the air.
Yeah. Well,
you never know. Chanel may be.
It don't matter what month.
Chanel might be swinging.
There's madness in this press box.
There always is. There's no doubt. As the Cub has full control of the happiness of some fans down there. And the first pitch, no bunt shown. Chanel takes high.
Well, here's the philosophy. You already have 1 runner in scoring position. So do you want to take 3 swings? You want to take 3 hacks at getting that run in? Or do you want to, play for 2 runs? I don't know.
There's the bunt from Chanel. It's a beauty. A collision and a late throw leads to a bases loaded, no out scenario.
Lack of communication right there. The first baseman and the pitcher got all tangled up with each other. Now the bases are loaded and nobody out. And unlike Louisville, we'll see if the Tigers can do something with bases loaded and nobody out. And we're going to see now a visit from Coach April. And at the pace she's walking, she is not happy. She is out there plainly discussing the fact you got to communicate. She's spending a lot of time looking at the pitcher right now, and I'm just speculating, of course.
Yeah, we're going to have a rare 2-coach conference in the circle as Coach Joyner will join Coach April.
But we got 3 coaches over there talking with the offense of Clemson. I mean, times have changed.
Yeah, we've got 5 coaches helping to craft 2 conversations 20 feet apart. Crash Repley with Coach John Rittman trying to coordinate the offensive game plan here. With the bases loaded, nobody out, they are calling that a bunt single for Chanel. And Mac Pavesi's coming to the plate.
I can go along with that.
Yeah. No gripes here.
No, it was kind of bunted out in no man's land.
It was always going to be a tough play, especially if Luckadoo picked it up and had to spin and throw.
Right.
And so now you imagine the Cardinals will be playing infield in. And
Pavesi has a chance to do something very damaging.
Pipkins, Brockenbrough, Chanel. You mentioned it, Mac Pavesi, who had such a hot month of February, 4 long balls in the opening month, still looking for her first ACC jack. And instead drives one fair down the first base line. 2 Tigers will score, and the lead is 3.
She got a pitch she liked and jumped all over it. Line drive in the right field corner. I mean, this ball was scalded. First baseman had no chance at it. Great job by the right fielder getting over there to cut that ball off. If Williams don't get that ball, 3-run score.
Team high 25 RBIs for the freshman Pavesi as Chanel moves first to third. The conveyor belt continues. Marion Collins at the plate as Pavesi will swipe second on the first pitch strike.
Boy, I understand the logic, but I hate conceding that base. But it was always conflicted with me, even back when I was coaching.
2 in scoring position as Collins takes outside the zone.
Infield in for Louisville.
1-2 the count.
And if you're Collins, you just want to put the ball in play. Do not get caught looking or swinging and missing right now. Just get that ball in play. They probably are in an angled down situation, meaning that both base runners will break on anything on the ground.
Good framework by Despinese. She does not garner the call, and it's 2-2.
Garner?
Yeah.
You broke out the thesaurus today.
You like that one?
No, not particularly. It's unusual.
Well, it caught your attention.
Well, it did.
2-2. Driven into left center field. The opposite field hitting of Collins nets 2 runs for the Tigers. A crooked number inning here in the 5th, and it's 5-zip.
And it's just suddenly on this 3rd time through the lineup, third time is the charm for the Tigers. Of course, this is probably about the 6th or 7th time they have seen Zabala. And it looks like it's going to be the end of the day for them.
The hook comes for the Cardinals ace.
Looks like it's going to be Brooke Gray.
4 straight hits for Clemson following the leadoff hit by pitch, and we will take a break. 5-0 in the 5th, the score. Zabala, who had 3, maybe 4 Sterling innings and ran into a rough shot here in the 5th, giving way to the lefty Brooks Gray.
Yep, but there again, remember, this is the 3rd time of the batting order today. They had already seen her probably 3 times over the weekend when she was relieving. So, you know, 6th or 7th time through the order, you've seen everything she's going to do. Right now, though, Brooke Gray is out there for the Louisville Cardinals, and she has started and pitched in relief. She's 4-1, got a 4.13 ERA, worked 20 1/3, and has a 12-to-8 strikeout walk ratio.
Last pitched an inning and a 1/3 scoreless to pick up the win in the extra inning affair on Tuesday against Evansville as Julia Noller, the left-handed bat, takes outside the zone from Gray.
And the key thing here is to be patient and not help Gray.
Good change there. The scouting report on Gray It's low 60s with deceptive rise and an effective change.
That was a 47-mile-an-hour change.
1-1 comes in. That one might have been the one, Scott. If it just got up above the netting, we would have had a chance.
And I want you to know I was fully prepared.
Ditto.
I was halfway under the countertop already.
I'll be the one reaching.
Will you now?
100%.
I'm not going to do that.
Collins at second on her 2-run double. There's the 1-2 pitch, tails outside. An inning that started with Pipkins getting hit. Brockenbrough rocketed a single to center, and then Kylie Chanel reached on a bunt single. Pavesi and Collins each drove in 2 with hits. There's another sub-50-mile-an-hour changeup, and the count is full.
And that is, if you can control that pitch, that is very effective. When you're going down 15 miles an hour.
Filthy. But Gray loses Noller as the junior from Louisville suddenly finds herself in a spot where the walk-off run is at the plate.
Yes, and in the form of Hicks, who homered yesterday.
And had a walk-off home run in traditional fashion last Saturday. 1-0 win over Georgia Tech.
And it also finished off the no-hitter
for Dunning, as the 48-mile-an-hour changeup freezes Hicks to start the AB. And if she was sitting on it, we would be packing up.
Yes, but that's almost unfair to be able to throw that thing 15 miles an hour slower.
And a whipping one at 62. Does 62 feel like 75?
It's like 100 after you see that 48-mile-an-hour pitch.
So a timeout called offensively. Coach Rittman is guiding his newcomer from Oklahoma.
You know what he's telling her, don't you?
Sit on the changeup.
Oh, you know what you're going to do. No, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to swing and miss, okay? Don't swing and miss, all right? We want you to make contact with the ball, okay? Now, she may throw it hard, but if she throws it slow, you got to be ready for that, too. So you get in there now and just do everything you can to be productive. Here we go.
Yes, Coach. We'll see how it goes with Sarah Bro waiting on deck. Still no outs in this inning as Coach John Rittman staring down the barrel of a 5-1 start to ACC play. Good eye on the rise.
Keep your eyes on the rise, right? And I'm going to say the changeup is on its way.
Defense looking for a ground ball. Instead, it is up in the zone and a strikeout.
And that's what we call an unproductive out. You got 2 runners out there and nobody out. The last thing you want to do is leave the plate without the runners advancing.
So the baton is passed to Sarah Bro. Fly out and a strikeout for the freshman. She'll take one at the letters for strike 1.
And if she sets down on a changeup and gets it, she'll hit it to the lake.
One and one.
Still hasn't showed the changeup.
Collins and Noller on the base paths. A 4-run inning here for Clemson. There is a changeup that is spit on.
Loaded straight up.
And the deep end is starting to make some noise. Clemson fans are aware of the run rule in sight. On an inning that was 1-0 to start. Bro takes outside 3-1 with Kylie Johnson on deck.
And I don't know if that's a strike or not, but that was a great pitch. It was just off the plate. I want to be sure to give the umpire credit.
Clemson pitching has been unreal. 17 straight scoreless innings. Yesterday's shutout by Dunning. Today it has been Manis again after her complete game Friday, as the bases are now juiced for Kylie Johnson.
And I would run for Bro unless they already have. They have not run for her, I'm being told.
I think they are preparing it.
But I would definitely run for her because that's the go-home run.
That is it. Ava Wilson may be the option. Meanwhile, Sierra Manis gets some extra tosses to stay warm in case she's needed. But as you mentioned, an extra base hit here could end it for the Tigers.
Now,
Coach Rittman is, yep, there you go.
It finally dawned on him. Just kidding, of course, Johnny. Or maybe,
yeah, they're gonna swap. It might be Lardizabal. So a pinch runner is announced here for Clemson. And it's Riley Burton who will come out, making her first appearance of the weekend, the junior transfer.
Mrs. Rittman just sent me a very ugly text about picking on her husband.
Did she?
Yes. I hope that Miss Judy from the West Coast doesn't ring in, because John's mother-in-law is the one I'm scared of.
Johnson's the 9th hitter of the inning here for Clemson. Johnson takes outside.
Mrs. John Rittman, Lori, was also a collegiate softball player at Oklahoma.
Change up, pooped into right field. Station to station go the Tigers. It's 6-0 on the Kylie Johnson RBI.
That ball was hit so poorly, it was great. She got jammed, and the infield was playing up a little bit. Now, you tell Kylie Johnson out there at second base, do not make an out rounding second base. When you get to second base, you get a peek and see what's going on before you try to go to third, because the winning run is out there at second base now.
Taylor Pipkins, her second appearance of the inning, as the Tigers have hit around. And Gray continues to struggle with the strike zone. The heat is certainly on Brooke Gray to keep this game going. 1-1 the count.
I mean, the game's right in front of us now. Not a lot that you have to say. It's like an old-fashioned prize fight. You got your opponent on the ropes, and you would love to not let them escape. 2 runs here, and you don't have to face that batting order anymore.
Noller at third, Burton at second, and another pop-up. This one will carry, caught by Williams, and no reason for Noller to test that, as Brooke Gray sits 1 out away from sending us to the 6th, and it brings up Jamison Brockenbrough.
Now you tell the runner at first, Johnson, you get to second base and you just stay there. You may even slide into it and just stay there.
And you wonder, why was Noller not run for? She was already run for today, so would not be allowed to re-enter. As Brockenbrough singled back in the 3rd and again here in the 5th, as Brooke Gray has not been able to find that first strike.
She's been a little bit wild.
6-run rule victories this season for the Tigers. Oh my goodness, a swinging bunt. And it ends on a 2 unassisted, as Despinese just needed a tap home plate. Clemson scatters 5 runs. ACC, where Syracuse has come back down 6-0 in the first to make that a game against Florida State. We'll keep tabs on the rubber match in Charlottesville. But more importantly, Scott, Clemson missed an opportunity to not just walk it off, but beat the Storm, as we are monitoring the situation with an incoming cell. Here in the top of the 6th inning, Louisville looking to spark a rally, and this is the rally starter in Chelsea Mack. She'll take strike one. 9 straight retired by Manis.
And if you've got a pitch to Chelsea Mack, it's great to do it with a 6-run lead.
Mack, who left early and was called out trying to steal second in the third, has reached in both plate appearances. And the temperature is starting to drop here at McWhorter Stadium.
You can feel the breeze picking up. That means that the wet weather is on its way. Hopefully it will not be enough to call a halt to the game.
Yeah, bigger storm expected at 3. That one is projected to bring lightning with it. This is some smaller scattered cells that could bring some precipitation, as Manis and the Tigers are 6 outs away or 2 runs away. Unless Louisville can put together one of their patented rallies.
Well, you certainly don't want to start off the inning by walking a hitter.
Coach Holly April told me on Friday she is sick and tired of all these comebacks. But it is certainly better than losing. That is a perfect bunt, touched by Hicks in fair territory. And a leadoff single for Mack.
Yeah, you're not going to get her if you pick it up. That way she gets down that line. Now what you got to think about now, if you're Manis, is to understand that doesn't matter. That run out there don't matter. I need an out, and I need 3 outs. I don't care. I will give you a run for 3 outs.
That is as pretty as a bunt gets. Now it is the power hitter Bree Despinese, and you're right, trading runs for outs. Not a bad propaganda setup here for Clemson. Great pitch. Funny enough, Manis is just expecting the steal at this point. You see her ducking after every pitch?
Yeah, and I wouldn't care. She can run from first to third as far as I'm concerned. Let's get outs. Let's attack now.
Well, the fielder's choice still in the realm of possibility here on a ground ball, as Despinese takes strike 2. Bree is 1 for 8 on the weekend, and make it 1 for 9. Manis sets her down.
And you don't want to sit there and get caught looking. And that's what happened right there.
10th strikeout of the weekend for Manis, her 6th today. Brings up Taylor Monroe, who was robbed on a diving play by Johnson to end the 3rd. She'll take inside 1-0. Bunt, tails foul, trying to catch the defense sleeping there, yeah?
She bunted it backwards. That takes talent. It went straight down, and then it took off right toward the catcher.
5 hits for Louisville, all singles. Same story as Friday. Just 1 extra base hit on the weekend, as Monroe takes a borderline pitch outside. If you're just joining us, Clemson and Louisville were scoreless through 2. Tigers had their first hit and run in the 3rd inning, and scored 5 in the 5th. Now the count 2-2 as Monroe fouls it back.
And if you're Manis, just 4 strikes in there. Sierra Manis has done yeoman's work for the Clemson Tigers this year, and she's working on another good one right now.
Runners on the move, and it gets by a diving Chanel as Mack nearly ran herself into an out at third, but Bro could not pick it. Louisville has 2 on, both in scoring position.
Yep, that ball was hit hard. Everybody just needs to take a deep breath. I like this right here. Infield coming together, didn't have to wait on somebody to tell them. I hope they're telling each other, look, we'll give a run to get an out. And if we make that play over there, Bro may have gotten her.
That would have been a tough play on that short hop, but the throw certainly beat the sliding Mack as Clemson's infield disperses, and we'll certainly assume they will trade that ground ball for a run as Cameron Luckadoo comes to the plate.
You can see the infield's back, so they're not concerned with the runner at third.
There's a look. First pitch misses low and outside to Luckadoo. One for 8 on the weekend. This is one of those momentum swinging opportunities. A few minutes ago, Clemson had the winning run at second.
And only 1 out.
And now Louisville with 1 swing could cut this lead in half. This is driven into deep center. Brock and Bro back, it's off the wall. The Cardinals will cut into the deficit, snap their scoreless inning streak, and it's 6-2.
You don't want to see that. Now that's going to probably have to get somebody going down in the bullpen for the Tigers.
First run scored since the 2nd inning on Friday. That was hit well by Luckadoo.
It surely was.
Brings up Madison Pickens. Pickens a part of a twin talented combo. Her sister Mackenzie is an all-region starter for Ole Miss.
How about that?
No relation to the superstar Carlin Pickens. But nevertheless, the same county that we're in now as Pickens goes the other way. And the lead trimmed to 3 here with back-to-back RBIs for the Louisville Cardinals.
Now you've got to hit your reset button right now if you're the Clemson Tigers. And what I mean by that is we got to forget about this game ending stuff now. We got to survive, and the drizzle is beginning to start.
Fans start to scatter, and that quick wave of small cells is working its way through as Coach Rittman looks to make a change in the circle following a phenomenal outing up into a speed bump here in the 6th for Sierra Manis. We'll tell you about the new pitcher when we come back here in the 6th. Working its way through the upstate, and then a glance at the bigger monster on the bottom of the screen that is supposed to hit around 3 o'clock, just about an hour. So we are experiencing some drizzles, but hoping to play through it here with 1 out in the 6th inning. And Abby Dunning, coming off of a complete game shutout yesterday, a 3-hit gem, looks to close things out for Clemson.
She needs to just 5 outs.
Now Dunning, without a save this season, transfer from Boston College, where she only had 12 innings pitched, dealt with injuries last year, looks for her 3rd collegiate save, needing to work her way through the middle of this lineup, 7, 8, 9 here, and working with a new catcher as well with Sam Minish replacing Corey Hicks.
And we've talked about Sam Minish before. She can do a little bit of everything for these Clemson Tigers. Play outfield, play first base, be behind the plate. And what I've been told is pitchers like throwing to her.
She had a great outing in relief of Hicks on Friday. And it's not confirmed, but we believe Minish is the one that spotted the runner leaving early back in that 3rd inning, a pivotal reversal of a challenge, as Minish, the left-handed catcher, replaces Hicks.
But we got a brand new ball game now, though.
Yeah, it looks like the rain has subsided. Fans starting to work their way back from the overhang as the first pitch to Jordan Williams misses from Dunning.
All of these chickens hiding behind cover. Now, that's easy for me to say based on the fact that we are indoors.
We are certainly comfortable as Williams laces one directly to Johnson for out number 2.
There you go. Those outs, that's just making money right there.
Now, Dunning, the grad senior from Chicago.
And we're going to have a pitch hitter here. This is number 8.
Yeah, she will face Ava Venturelli, who has pinch hit in every game this season.
They're hitting 242. She's got 4 doubles on the season. How about that? And 1 home run. So 5 out of her 8 hits have been extra base hits. And she has, believe it or not, driven in 12.
And 2 of them came on a RBI double on Tuesday to give Louisville the lead in the 6th inning against Evansville. UE would tie it, and the Cardinals would walk it off in the 8th. If Venturelli has a big swing in her, this would be a good time as the screwball from Dunning misses inside.
Pound that strike zone.
Yesterday, Venturelli struck out looking in the 7th against Abby Dunning. Dunning finished the game with back-to-back 1-2-3 frames. This is driven deep to left center field. Johnson off of her glove and gone. Venturelli with a 2-run shot cuts the lead to 1. Kylie Johnson was that close to the catch of the year, and it's 6-5.
Unbelievable. You talk about making the right change at the right time. And now, all of the momentum is with the Louisville Cardinals.
Look how close this is. In and out of the glove, and you see Brockenbrough's reaction, and hopefully Johnson, who is back on her feet, is not too worse for the wear. So a 5-run 6th inning. These are the comeback Cardinals we were promised. And it's Riley Janda, the 9-hitter, who takes inside from Dunning, and things have gotten interesting here in the upstate.
Well, now you know you've got to face the top of the order one more time.
Meanwhile, the Tigers have their top of the order in the bottom of the 6th. Chanel, Pavesi, and Collins. But Dunning will have to throw strikes to Janda, who has 1 hit and 5 at-bats this series. And it's 3-0 with Easton Lotus on deck. What a swing from Ava Venturelli to get this crowd silent.
And it was gone off the bat. I mean, it was.
Until Kylie almost brought it back.
Yes.
And Coach John Rittman is going to work his way to the circle ahead of a 3-0 approach.
And this right here is another case of Rittman just wanting to slow everything down. And I don't see anybody working in Clemson's bullpen. They may be, but I don't see them.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit of movement.
Yeah, there's somebody walking around down there anyway.
Dunning, who just came in. Shades of Sunday, where Dunning came in relief in a tie game. Georgia Tech hit a double and a home run. And warming up is Kira Crosby, the freshman. Clemson hoping they won't need her as the count moves to 3-1. What a swing. Tigers had the bases loaded with 1 out, up 6 in the 5th. Louisville has struck back with 5 here in the 6th. And the full count approach, one of the bigger pitches of this game from Dunning to Janda. And it misses high. Tying run is on base here for Louisville.
And now, if you're Clemson, you're officially in a mess. Because these next 2 hitters are outstanding at putting the ball in play. They're extremely fast. That speeds up the defense. This would be a great time to have a ball just hit right straight to somebody or popped up.
Easton Lotus with a couple ground outs and a single takes strike one.
That was a great job of getting ahead.
Lotus was hitless with a few walks yesterday against Dunning. Pops it, and it's caught by Chanel. How about that? Back-to-back 5-run half innings. To the bottom of the 6th we go. As Coach Holly April's squad has come back in this one. 5 runs in the 6th. More hits than they had in the entire game against Sierra Manis, and they run her from the contest. Take us into the bottom of the 6th. Scott Whitlock, Daniel Gilman. Glad you're with us here in a suddenly exciting finish to this one here to close out the weekend.
Now, it makes you and I excited. Okay, Coach April and Coach Rittman are both basically dead now. Because of their stress levels.
Brooke Gray, who took over in the 5th, slowly delivers that sub 50-mile-an-hour changeup for ball 1 to Kylie Chanel, and Chanel has had timely hits.
It wouldn't hurt if the Tigers picked up 1 or 2 runs this half inning.
RBI double to give Clemson the lead in the 3rd. Chanel had RBI hits to tie and take the lead on Friday. No doubt the player of the weekend.
Great pickup for the Clemson Tigers. Came here from Florida Atlantic.
Sends this pitch into the 5-6 hole with a leadoff single.
And she just keeps on keeping on. That was very 1970s to me.
Didn't dislike it.
Well, but I just don't. I hate that I can remember those.
Kylie Chanel does not remember it, and it doesn't matter. A leadoff single sets up Mac Pavesi with a lefty-lefty trio here for Clemson. Pavesi, Collins, and Noller. First pitch misses up and in.
So one time somebody asked the late Lou Holtz how old he was. He said, let me put it this way, the candles cost more than the cake.
That's a good one.
That's a great line. That's how I feel working around all you young bucks.
Screwball misses inside, 1-1. 5 runs in the 5th for Clemson. Louisville bounced back with 5 of their own in the 6th. Two and 1 the count now with Pavesi coming off of a 2-run single. Squeaked fair down the first base line last inning.
It was hit hard.
Pop up, handled by Monroe for the first out.
That fly ball had a spin rate of 28.93.
Backspin.
That's revolutions per minute. Now I want to know who times it.
The computer. Brings up Marion Collins.
Well,
2-run double last inning for Collins in the left center field gap as she takes the changeup high. There is a quiet nervousness in the air here at McCorder Stadium.
it is a bit antsy, isn't it?
You can feel it.
I mean, the Clemson fans are really concerned now.
A couple hundred people standing up under the awning in the concourse. After the Tigers were a single away from ending the game last inning.
I'm just glad it quit raining. And I'm glad it looks like now we're going to finish this thing up in a timely manner. In terms of, even if it had to go into extra innings, we could get it done before the rain gets here.
Yep, there is a big storm approaching.
It was down around Atlanta, wasn't it? I mean, traffic is horrible down there. It's going to take that storm forever to get here.
Yeah, I think over in the Augusta range.
Yeah, well,
coming in from the east.
A lot of back roads over there. And it's hard to get here.
There are a lot of cops on the road to stop that storm.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the 2-2 approach is incoming. With Chanel at first and one out. Brooke Gray in the circle. Gray has only pitched once in conference play, and it did not go well. She allowed 3 runs in a third of an inning in the Game 2 loss to Stanford. Hoping to resurrect her conference season, still in the early makings here in mid-March.
Collins did a nice job of fouling that pitch off. That was that 48-mile-an-hour changeup.
48-62, and the at-bat continues. Abby Dunning will look to shut things down in the 7th for her first Clemson save. The count runs full to Collins.
You gonna start the runner or you're not gonna start the runner?
I am not going to start the runner.
Nor am I. I'm not gonna take the bat out of Pavesi's hand under any circumstance.
Well, Pavesi flew out, Collins at the plate, 3-2. Driven into right field, manageable for Williams, 2 down.
Again, got under it just a little bit. It looked like it was more trouble off the bat than it was. And now with 2 outs, Pavesi steps in.
And a dream setup for Louisville in the top of the 7th. The same who kicked off the 5-run 6th. That's Mack, Despinese, and Monroe. All important insurance runner at first as Julia Knobler takes high.
And we got a visit from the pitching coach. Of course, now we'll see 47 people come out and talk. No, it looks like Clemson coaching staff's going to stay in. Not a lot to tell anybody right now, you know, as a hitter.
Yeah, it looks like Griffin Joyner just keeping the vibes, smiling in the circle with Brooke Gray.
Yep. I was alluding to more of the hitters. There's really not a lot you got to tell Pavesi. I mean, there's 2 outs, runner on first. Get a good one and hit it.
Yep, Julia Knobler walked in the 5th, singled in the 4th, reached on an error in the 2nd. She has reached in all 3 at-bats. Would not be a bad time for Knobler's 2nd home run of the season. Fouled it into the glove. Last season, an all-region campaign, Knobler had 15 home runs and a record 19 doubles.
Changeup made her look bad right there. I'm telling you, if you can throw that pitch for a strike, it don't matter about what your up-end velocity is. Because 62 becomes like 72.
2-strike pitch evens the count. Clemson scored in the 3rd and the 5th. Louisville snapped back to match that 5-run 6th. As Knobler golfs this into manageable left center, Mack will lead off the inning. 3 outs away from a sweep for Clemson. We'll see if Louisville can stop. Let's go to the 5th. When a rally was ended on this 2 unassisted, 5 runs came in before, and then we moved to the 6th inning, where the rally started on an infield hit that got through the glove of Chanel. Then this big double off the wall from Cameron Luckadoo set up the stage for another RBI single by Madison Pickens, and then a pinch hit blast by Ava Venturelli, nearly robbed by Kylie Johnson, who had a tough fall. And takes us into the 7th here. Scott Whitlock, Daniel Gilman, 3 outs away. What's the approach here in the circle?
Well, in the circle, you throw strikes, you trust your defense. In the batter's box right here, particularly with Mack, you get on any way you can. And then you make Clemson worry to death about you stealing bases.
At the plate, we have Mack leading off. I assume you got to keep your eyes out for a bunt.
Yes. Get on any way you can.
Meanwhile, Sierra Manis is starting to warm up in the Clemson bullpen. May use her to re-enter. As Dunning seeks her first Clemson save and starts it with ball 1.
And you could see Manis come back in this ball game.
Yeah, we saw it last Sunday against Georgia Tech.
Yes, we did.
Chelsea Mack has been the 2-hole hitter for the last few years. Hit .350 last season. Has elevated that to .477 here in her senior year.
And this is who you don't want to mess with.
Chase is a rise on 2-0, and there's a gift.
Just missed, but it was off the plate.
Bree Despinese is 0 for 3, waiting on deck. Louisville has just one big inning today and are hoping for a second. A full count approaches the talented senior Mack. Some Louisville fans have stuck around through the rain.
Well, this game is clearly not over.
3 outs needed, 1 run needed to propel it to the bottom of the 7th. Squibber to short. Chanel works quick and makes the out.
You talk about a huge first out. Hit right at Chanel, and Chanel really did a great job of redirecting that ball. That ball never stopped moving. It went straight glove, hand, first base.
Kylie Chanel has been unstoppable on both sides of the ball here this weekend. Bree Despinese takes outside 1-0.
I would say that she's had quite the weekend, wouldn't you?
I would. A couple go-ahead hits, game-tying hit, superb defense. As Dunning finds the zone 1-1. Alyssa Zabala is the pitcher of record for Louisville. Sierra Manis seeking her 11th win for Clemson. The Tigers have gone old-fashioned this weekend, partner, just 2 pitchers. Looking to carry through the sweep.
And they're trying hard. But we're late in the series. Everybody has seen everybody. Everybody's tired. Good pitch that time.
2-2.
By Dunning.
Rain's starting to trickle down.
I don't know who that player is, but I'd love to get their name because she's doing.
There's Riley Burton down there. We saw her pitch run last inning. As Despinese takes outside 3-2.
What she's doing, she's down there now doing some duty to help watch base runners and stuff. And she's in that position now. So she's got her towel on her head, and
everybody is locked in on the stoop of their dugouts as Despinese fouls it off.
Now that is a very disappointing effort.
There was an error made by a Louisville fan.
It went right through his hands. You hear what I'm saying? Right through his hands. Don't want to hear about it being slick or wet. You got to concentrate and make the play.
3-2. Popped foul again. Taylor Monroe waits on deck.
Ennis caught it.
With a glove.
Why can't he do it?
No glove. Louisville staring down the barrel of a 2-4 ACC start to the season. But the tying run is on base as Despinese walks and will surely be run for.
Well, not yet.
Well, clearly not so, Shirley. In fact, Despinese has 12 stolen bases this season. I will eat my words as Taylor Monroe comes to the plate. She bunts. Bro takes her time and executes perfectly from both ends on the sacrifice bunt.
You don't know what a good job that was right there. You had a runner that had good speed going down the baseline. Bro came in confidently and knew exactly what she was going to do. And the second baseman, Collins, got over there, knew exactly what to do, and got the second out of this inning. Now a single ties the game, but an out ends the game.
Cameron Luckadoo, the RBI double last inning, takes just inside on a 2-for-3 day for the junior out of Kentucky.
Well, not that you want to get into this, but there is a base open.
And you're putting the go-ahead run on.
Yeah, but you don't have to serve up a fat pitch if you get way behind.
1-1 the count.
For those of you who may not know the term fat pitch, that is a pitch that is very easily hit.
Juicy.
Yes.
Abby Dunning is 1 out away from completing a terrific weekend of Clemson pitching. Luckadoo is 1 swing away from changing the trajectory of this Louisville start to the ACC play. .30 pitches thrown by Dunning.
Big pitch right here.
Despinese at second, and the count is now 2-2.
Now, if you're Dunning, you're a pitch away from nailing this thing. Everybody pacing nervously, no matter if you're pulling for the team in red or the team in white. Everybody antsy here.
And a new ball ushered in by Aaron Golden, who has called a great game behind home plate today.
Even the dude down by the Louisville dugout that's dressed like a tiger, he seems to be a little tense right now.
9 hits apiece. Clemson clinging on to a 1-run lead. Louisville is 3-1 this season in 1-run games. And Luckadoo lays off.
Now, you do not have to serve up something here. I say, worse things can happen.
Clemson is 2-2 in 1-run games this season. Payoff pitch, foul back.
Good cut. Everybody on the edge of their seat here. And here's Kyle Jamison walking out now. Got something specific to say. He may be going out there asking Dunning, what do you want to throw?
Yeah.
What do you feel most confident about? You know, that could very easily be something. And we're getting a look right now on our track, man. You guys can't see it at home, but the storm is a-coming. We still got a little ways. We still got a little time, but we don't want to wait a long time.
We have had rain over the last 45 minutes, but it is a calm, brisk air with a tying run at second in Despinese. The 3-2 pitch to Luckadoo. Skies to deep center. Brockenbrough cannot corral it. Louisville ties it. Luckadoo maybe thinking 4. Held it 3 on the RBI double. Turned triple.
That ball was mashed. And we got a tie game, and we got a go-ahead run at third base. Can you believe it?
Louisville's 17th triple of the season. And Brockenbrough gave it all she had.
And the ball ran away from her, too, in terms of after it hit the wall.
And I think we're going to see Manis come back in. And a pitching change as the comeback Cardinals have struck again with 6 unanswered. We'll come right back. As the big storm is approaching, coming in from the south, the skies are not friendly. On a drizzled camera lens, Sierra Manis will re-enter after 5 1/3 to start the game, but only 87 pitches thrown. So Manis is back in, and Madison Pickens at the plate. 2 hits today, including an RBI single last inning for Pickens. Swinging drooper to second, tough play. Collins on a head-first slide. Pickens is safe. Louisville takes the lead.
Well, we're going to have to see about that. I got a feeling this is going to be reviewed, because I think that the slide actually hurt the base runner.
This will be headed to review on a Clemson coach's challenge. And you mentioned Riley Burton sitting on that little stool. She is the first to put the earmuffs on, the headphones. Here's our first look.
She's safe.
I was going to say she's out.
Do you think so?
Let's take another look. Look at that left hand.
Okay, there's the ball.
Let's see if we can find when it hits the orange bag. I think she's out. The ball is in the glove, and the hand is not on the bag. Well, right there.
Okay.
Let's see again.
I think they're going to rule it too close to call.
Let's see. Yeah, it could be bang bang. The question is, when does it hit the back of the glove? Here's another look. What an effort by Pickens.
Where's the hand?
And we'll see if our replay crew can sync up those 2 looks. The umpires are in the replay room right now. And the call stands. Louisville comes all the way back and takes the lead. On a little swinging bunt to second.
And it was just a slow roller. There was nothing anybody could do. It was just a great effort by the base runner.
And it brings up Jordan Williams. Meanwhile, Minish does not realize that Pickens was swiping second, and Louisville snags the bag.
I thought Pickens might have hurt herself sliding into second base.
I'll tell you what, partner, it was not the cleanest of slides. Now a runner in scoring position, and Manis has her full attention on the hitter 0-2. Hicks, Bro, and Johnson due up in the bottom of the 7th. Clemson stares down the barrel of another Sunday that slips away in the sights of a sweep.
And really, if you're Clemson, you really, I mean, that play was, I think, too close to overturn.
Yeah, I think so too. Meanwhile, Williams goes down on strikes. The damage done by Luckadoo. The RBI triple scoring on the infield single. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Loaded up by 6 in the bottom of the 5th with 1 out. Louisville escaped the jam and have come from behind. 5 in the 6th, 2 in this 7th. An incredible effort on the go-ahead single, and now we enter the bottom of the 7th. Partner, this is what it's all about.
This is about as exciting. We have seen 3 very good games this weekend.
It certainly feels like Louisville has earned a win this weekend. They have not received it yet. They have to go out and put together 3 outs as Brooke Gray faces Corey Hicks.
And the thing about the Louisville group, we talked about it on Friday, we mentioned it yesterday, they do not quit. They just keep coming at you and coming at you and coming at you.
There's a strike into Hicks as Gray has delivered 2 shutout innings in relief of Zabala. She struck out Hicks with 2 on and no out in her first at-bat against the lefty as Gray misses and it's 2-1. Hicks, I think, was our first plate appearance. We got to see that 48-mile-an-hour changeup.
Yes.
She'll take that changeup low, and it's 3-1.
Boy, and if you're Gray, you don't want to walk anybody.
And if you're Hicks, are you sitting on that changeup here?
No, I don't think she'll chance it with three balls in the count.
It is driven directly to the left fielder, Pickens, for out number 1.
They had her positioned perfectly. She hit that ball very hard, but out.
Louisville's defense has risen to the occasion today. Nearly popped out of the glove. Brings up Sarah Breaux, who had the grand slam in the first inning on Friday against a lefty for Louisville in Anna Wise. And the freshman seeking a monumental swing here. 1-0 the count. Takes a changeup right down the pipe.
Now, do you have the guts to throw it again? Back to back, double up. A great strategy sometimes is to double up with changeups.
Line outside, 2-1. Oh, that changeup has Breaux off balance, and it's 2-2 with Kylie Johnson on deck.
Now do you double up with the changeup?
Sarah Breaux, Brooke Gray. The focus of everybody at home, everybody watching. It's 3-2 again. Louisville's bats awoke in the 5th inning. Check that, the 6th inning with 5 runs. And the big triple by the conference's leading triple team. As Breaux sends one to center. Mack reaches and grabs it for out number 2.
And if it's not caught, I believe it leaves the yard. I believe that was up against the top of the wall.
The tongue out from Chelsea Mack tells the story.
Maybe it'll stay in.
It brings up Kylie Johnson, who almost robbed that home run from Venturelli that pulled Louisville within 1 in the 6th.
Well, now you're down to cases, aren't you?
Johnson, whose birthday was just 4 days ago, would love a present here. Pitch from Gray misses low and outside. This would by far be the most successful outing of the season for Gray. She has shut down teams like Lehigh and Buffalo. But 1 out away from closing the door, picking up the victory here at Clemson.
Now, Clemson does get to live with the fact that they've won the series, but this is going to be a bitter bitter loss if they do not come back in this game.
A 6-0 lead in the 5th inning. Evaporated. But not dead yet. As a 2-1 count.
And Gray has been behind every hit of this inning and has lived to tell about it.
Feels like this entire outing she's been working from behind. Yet closing in on 3 shutout innings, and will look to finish it as Johnson to deep right center. The ballpark holds it, and Louisville salvages the series with a 7-run comeback win. The 11th come from behind victory this season for the Cardinals, and they move to 3-3 in the ACC.
And that's a team right there that just does not quit. They hung on and hung on and hung on, and even when they were down 6 runs, they just went back to work, and they came in here and won this ball game.
2 wall scrapers cannot complete the comeback for Clemson, and the Tigers will head to Notre Dame next weekend. We thank you so much for joining us for a fantastic weekend. For our entire crew, Scott Whitlock, I'm Daniel Gilman saying so long from Clemson on this Sunday.